we're being told by our various platforms.
Devices and platforms, yes. What it is we see in front of us.
And what we hope we see is you. I can't point and say you because there are three separate.
So go you. To you.
Yeah. To y'all.
All y'all.
To y'all.
Yes. 1 second. Yes, there we are. Pin to post. We're on Facebook. It's working.
Okay.
There they are. Okay. Now let's go over here.
Alice and I didn't get to watch the Tournament of Roses parade live. We DVR'd it, if that's a verb that is acceptable.
I think it is now.
On KTLA, our local LA television station, which broadcasts it around the world. And the two current hosts of the parade are people I worked with for a long, long time at Entertainment Tonight. A long time ago, Lisa Gibbons and Mark Steinis.
Two really lovely humans.
Yeah, two good people.
Good people.
And I'm happy to see them employed in that high-profile position.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing them every year. I was really sad, I have to say, when we lost Stephanie Eubanks?
No, Bob Eubanks.
Bob Eubanks and Stephanie
Edwards.
Well done. They were on for so long, and I was really
to me, it's
all
all in there.
It's all in there somewhere.
The retrieval process is
it just takes a minute. Yeah, it just takes a minute to get it back out. Yes. All right, looks like we're working. That's my favorite kind.
Okay.
Yeah, because when it changed, even though it was our friends and I was so happy for them, I was just brokenhearted because I'd watched the same people for so many years and it felt strange to watch someone else, you know? Yes, as several of you are asking, yeah, I'm having a really, really bad flare, as you can see. If you don't know, if you are newer to our audience, or if you just haven't heard me talk about it before, I like to say that I collect autoimmune diseases for fun. And I have all of them. More literally, I have something called mixed connective tissue disease, which also falls into lupus, arthritis, blah, 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 blah. And the main part of the lupus that affects me is that I get these really big, really painful rashes, and I get them all over my face. I get them on my neck and my chest. And yeah, they suck. I try not to put makeup over them because it just makes them angrier. My face is really red at the moment. I'm getting a flare on my cheek. So yeah, it is what it is. My apologies. I'm also obviously in the middle of redoing my rainbow hair. So while it's still rainbow down here, I am pretending to be blonder for a few days. So yes.
Anchorage, Alaska says hello.
Hello, Anchorage, Alaska. Hello, Karen. Hi, Larry. Hello, everybody. Hi, Quentin. Hi, Nick. Maltin, did you ever talk about your thoughts on the 2022 inductees of the National Film Registry?
Oh, no, we didn't discuss it. But this year, I'm no longer voting on that honor. But I did do that for 25 years, I think.
Yeah.
And there are a couple of other people who were on it with me who every now and then we would have a little mini cabal, and we would agree to a couple of older titles.
Yeah. You'd work together.
We'd work together.
You'd work together to try and figure out.
I think the word is conspire. We'd conspire to get some favorite old films on the list.
Yeah.
Because some of the people who are voting are not as familiar with silent films or are as partial to films of the 30s.
Yeah.
As I am, and as some of my.
So they sort of try to band together and say, okay, let's all agree that we want to get this one in.
Right.
Let's all agree that we want to do this, which is wild.
Right. So this current list is the most contemporary. List I think they've ever done, but in many cases these were titles that were suggested by us. See, the board votes on these titles, and then we present that list to the Librarian of Congress.
Doug here is saying, I thought voting for the registry was open to the public. I voted a couple of years.
No, you and the public get to submit your suggestions.
Yeah, you get to say what you would like.
And we on the board get to say what we would like to see on the list this year. But it's only the Librarian of Congress
who actually decides.
Who for many, many years was Dr. James Billington, and now is.
I know. Oh, but she's awesome. We've got to film with her in Washington, which was such an incredible experience.
Yes.
That was wild. That was genuinely wild.
That was
getting to that building.
That was a great trip.
Getting to the library.
We recorded it in one of the rooms at the Library of Congress, which is a magnificent building.
But Carla Hayden, there you go.
Dr.
Carla Hayden.
The former head librarian of Baltimore, Maryland.
Yes. She's great. First of all, she loves movies.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. But we get there. You were filming with TCM.
Right.
And so we were in Washington, D.C. for almost exactly 24 hours.
Yeah.
We get there.
And we got to stay at the Willard Hotel, which
it was Christmas time.
Decorated for Christmas.
So it was beautiful. Great. It was so pretty. But yeah, we get to the library. And what was so funny is that the way where they'd set stuff up, where the crew and everybody had set stuff up, was in this other room that was also like distractingly beautiful. Like, do you remember the ceiling was painted? It was just stunning. And that's where we were putting craft services and shoving C-stands. Yeah. It was very, very funny.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a good run, but Dr. Billington was, I think it's unfair to say that he was somewhat conservative in his taste. And there's certain titles like Kenneth Anger's Scorpio Rising, one that he would never approve, and Dr. Hayden just did. And Melvin Van Peebles' Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song is another one that was a sticky wicket.
Yeah.
And so this year made up for
some of that. Yeah. Jesse, you're blonde. Yes, I'm in this is what it looks like before I re-dye my hair.
Work in progress.
Yeah, as I say, you can see the rainbow elsewhere. I just have to redo the rest of my hair. I think though that, some people know that I play this game on Instagram, and it's that we try to figure out what shape my rashes look like. It's sort of like a Rorschach test. And it's funny, but someone had mentioned that it looks a bit like a snail. And in this lighting, I really see it. If you look, there's the little antenna things. Here's its little head. And then this is its body with the shell. Do you see that?
Well, then if you pour beer on it, it ought to just shrivel up.
That's very close. Do you see? I can see it. I totally see the snail thing. That's really funny. Well done, everyone who figures that out. It was an incredible experience.
Yeah.
And you being on that for so long was a big part of your life as well. And now that's done for now. So we'll see what happens
next.
Things change. Yeah.
We move on.
A few people are asking what you were showing Daisy. If you saw, I posted a video yesterday. My dad, so downstairs is where my dad has his film collection, actual films.
16 millimeter film.
Yep. And we used at our old house, we actually had a setup, both for your films, but also where we could watch them. One of the rooms we had a screen you pulled down and his projector.
People used to ask if I had an elaborate or a wonderful home theater.
No,
we didn't.
But
when we moved into that house, which we built in Toluca Lake, California, we had a room that had a good throw.
Very good throw.
If you don't know what that means, look it up somewhere. And we had the right size pull down screen, which some of you may remember from school days if you're old enough. And we found an armoire intended to house a television set
that perfectly fit the projector.
Yep.
Forgive me, my face is just really hot from the rash, so I'm just trying to cool it down.
Oh, sweetie,
it's all right.
It's
okay. It's okay.
Not all right.
Well, it is what it is.
It is what it is. But the armoire hid the projector from sight until we opened it up and used it.
Yep.
So everything sort of
it was perfect.
It worked.
Yeah.
And then when we downsized slightly and moved to our current residence, it just and also watching feature films is now so easy to do and so much easier to do and on a large screen television set that it hardly seems worth the bother.
I know.
But I still have my short subject collection and my animated cartoons.
Yep.
And though I'm pruning the collection a bit, and that's what I was doing. I was watching films to see if they were keepers or not, or if they had turned vinegar.
Which is the most depressing thing in the entire world.
So upsetting.
Yeah.
I lost 3 or 4 titles yesterday.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Like gone.
Gone.
Oh dear.
When you open the can, don't use cans.
Yeah.
When I open the can, and I see how badly warped some of them are, or some of them are starting to already crystallize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough. Sorry. Yeah, Frank, I'm fine. Again, I'm having a really bad lupus flare. And so I'm just bright red and it's really, really hot and it burns, but I'm okay. Someone just said, what's our favorite way to watch home media? Without question, on my dad's projector. It's my favorite thing. It always has been because we've done it since I was little. You showed me how to thread the projector when I was a little kid, which was so much fun. It was a very big deal when I was big enough to use the rewinds by myself. Because for a long time, obviously, I couldn't reach both. So my dad and I would do it together. We do the rewinds together. As you said, if you don't know what a throw is, if you don't know what rewinds are either, go look them up. But it was a big deal when I could reach both rewinds at the same time. I say both rewinds, both of the things at the same time. But I will always love, one of my favorite cartoons is Clock Cleaners, and watching it on the projector, I just don't think there's a better way. There's also just something really special about watching a film go through a projector.
It's very tactile.
It's just, it's just amazing. Yeah. Thank you, Larry. The family that rewinds together stays together. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know. It's my favorite. I think it's always going to be my favorite. I would think yours to some degree is the
so.
Same.
Anyway,
but I say, what's your favorite form of media to watch? I would think it would be.
Yes, I have an affection.
Yeah, I love them.
A long-standing affection, fondness for that.
Oh, so they're asking what you showed. Sorry, what were you watching with Daisy?
I had Daisy, 14-month-old Daisy, on my lap.
Yep.
And I was showing an early, obscure, talky Max Fleischer cartoon. Not a good one, as it turns out.
No.
And she kept turning her head toward the projector, to the screen, and to me.
Yep.
And rotating.
Yep. Her head wasn't rotating, just the. Yeah. But I took a video of that and I posted it. And it was the first thing a lot of people said was, what are you watching? So that's what she was watching some of with my dad.
Yeah.
I will say that you sent me the cutest text the other day and I saved it because it made me smile. It's all the little things. So my dad texted me, he said, Daisy just watched Gene Kelly doing Singing in the Rain and paid attention for quite a while. Another milestone.
Yep.
And I said, that's my baby. It is all these little things. It's so cool. It's so much fun to share this stuff. It's such I don't know. It means the world. Do you ever polish the films before watching them? It used to help my film collector friends do that when I was a high schooler. That was also the time I first learned about movies on TV. You have all the cleaners. Like we'll definitely, if something looks like it's just starting to go vinegar, sometimes we'll try to run it through like that and clean it.
Yeah.
I know it's depressing.
Yes,
I know it's depressing when you're stuck.
And my favorite Charlie Chase short lives in our
We've told you this before.
In the garage.
We've told you this before. But
and I take it out.
It works.
It has worked so far.
It's worked.
Because
it's been in there for years.
Mike Pokozelski, the Academy curator of their film archive,
Pogo to his friends,
told me that freezing a film can't stop the process of disintegration, but it can retard it. It can slow it down. So that's what I've been doing.
I mean, it's been in there for 10 plus years.
Oh yeah. It's
been in the freezer.
And when I take it out every 6 months to show to my class at USC, it still runs through the projector.
It does. It's fine.
So far, so good.
Do you remember what it was we were watching that was dying that time at the house?
Oh yes, I know exactly what we were watching.
Okay, so we used to have movie nights.
And it cannot be coincidental that I lost 3 or 4 RKO shorts.
Were they near each other?
No, it wasn't that.
They didn't affect each other.
They probably all got processed by the same laboratory.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
For television in the early 1950s. And the whatever fixative they were using or whatever, or they didn't bathe it long enough, something like that, has come back to haunt the prints all these years. That I was showing a Ruth Etting short, Ruth Etting being a very popular singer in the 20s and 30s, later played by Doris Day in the movie Love Me or Leave Me. Are you taking notes? Okay. Ruth Etting made some shorts for RKO, and this was called Derby Decade, about the gay 90s, a term we don't hear anymore. And it was a short that I liked. And we had friends over for a movie night. And as I opened the can, I saw white ooze in between the
it was
the
gross.
Of the film. It went through the projector, but as it passed through,
no, you have to just explain. So we used to have movie nights at our house. Bunch of our friends would come over. We'd sit in the living room. We'd watch stuff.
And we would watch stuff we'd never seen before.
Not always, but mostly.
Yeah.
Occasionally, I would request that we watch something good because I felt that was possibly better than just watching something rare. Was watching something actually good, which is how I made everybody watch Bulldog Drummond, because I was determined to not see something terrible. But this was, so a bunch of us are sitting, we're all sitting down in the living room, and my dad puts it through. And as it's starting, it was okay. And then it starts to rock the projector.
And no, it changed polarity.
It changed color on the screen.
The black and white film, but it went from positive to negative.
Yeah. It was like orangey purple. It was weird.
Oh man.
But then literally it started to have trouble in the actual projector, and it started to shake. And so all of us are sitting there watching this movie quite literally die.
Yep.
We're watching this film die. And everybody is just like, oh my God, what are we going to do? It's terrible. It was, I've never forgotten it. I have never forgotten it.
And then Dick Van was kind enough to take a bottle of alcohol.
Yeah, to clean the projector.
Because from the residue.
Yeah.
Of this goo.
Yeah.
So people said to me, "Oh, but was that the last print?" Well, the RKO short subject negatives, I think, are kept either at the Library of Congress or at the French Cinematheque, but they exist. I don't know that anybody uses them or prints them up anymore.
But they are alive.
So, but I lost my print.
Yeah.
That I like to show.
Yeah.
And so that's always sad.
It's, I mean, that's the thing. If you've never had the opportunity to see a projector up close, to watch a film go through it, especially smaller ones, because it's really neat when we go to theaters and we actually see the big projectors, but there's something about sort of the one you have at home.
Yeah.
And the idea that this device works the way it does.
I've never operated a 35 millimeter professional projector. Never have.
No.
There are people out there I know, and I know some of them personally, who had to strike the carbon arc in the projector to fire that up, almost literally fired that up, and get it going.
When your bulb went out, oh, that was an adventure. The light bulb in the projector went out. And man, so the first problem was, where do you find a replacement light bulb for this projector, which is how old?
Old.
Give us a.
I was in 1960s.
There you go.
Most likely.
Old. And
Kodak Pageant. One of the war horses.
So I'm trying to figure out. The first thing was really hard to get the light bulb out.
It goes into its socket.
It has a little house.
What they call a bayonet movement, where you have to push it down. It's like childproof.
It's like push and turn at the same time.
Push and turn. Except this is made of glass. How hard can you push it?
And
it's in a metal casing.
So me and two friends sat there for probably 3 hours trying to get it out, and finally managed. And then how do we find another bulb? And I went online on eBay. This is some years ago, but I went online to eBay and I found one. And I bought it and my fingers were just crossed. And when it arrived, it did fit. But that bulb had to be 40 some years old.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, yeah. So there's all these little things. It's really, yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild.
It's, you don't want to return to earlier times when things weren't as convenient or easy or inexpensive. But having lived through them, it was an adventure, kind of like hunting down movies, seeking out movies that weren't readily available.
Yeah.
As opposed to today.
Well, I think also that having all of the films out and looking at them, like for me growing up with them, there's something really special about seeing physical film, looking at the cans, reading my dad's handwriting looks the same as it did when he was really young. So it's quite funny because some of those labels have been on them since the time you were 12 or 13.
Yeah.
So that always made me laugh that I know my dad's writing really, really well. And I like your writing. I like especially the way that you write on your film canisters. So looking at all of them and saying, okay, what do we want to watch? And looking at all the films and then opening it up and you have this thing in your hand. Now, obviously I'm old enough to have had VHS and cassettes and all the rest of that. So seeing something physical is not foreign to me the way it will be for a lot of younger people. But still, it's the idea that you can take this thing and then put it into your projector and you hit play and you watch it move and it's a movie. Beyond that, sound comes out of it. I know that this is one of those things, like I get science and that it's happening and technology, whatever. It still blows my mind that music and sound come out of this stuff. You know what I mean? It's just kind of mind blowing because how could it work? How does that happen? And it just does. And especially as a kid, but even now, watching my dad thread it and hit play, and then it projects and it's there.
I don't hit play. I move the lever
I'm
forward.
sorry. I'm sorry.
But
I'm sorry.
We're going to be correct.
When you move the lever and it starts.
And Ken, yes, I love using antiquated expressions.
He does. Yes. Yes.
I collect them.
Yes.
This manuscript came in over the transom. My dance card is full.
Oh, yeah. We like that one.
Yeah.
We like that one. Do you still have a VHS/Betamax collection? We have some VHS.
Yeah.
I don't think we have any Betamax.
No, I never did have Betamax.
No. I think you had some stuff from ET.
I do have some,
but not
8mm video that I shot, and as was described to me, 8mm video was a miniature version of Betamax. Use the same methodology.
Yeah.
And it's just as dead.
Ronnie is saying that just like books. So it's true. Victoria says the smell of film. It's true. I love that. I love the smell of film. I do not love it when it's turned to vinegar, but I love the smell of it in general. Again, in part because it's childhood and it's a happy thing. But yeah, books are the same. My parents, because they're collectors and love going to antique stores. And when you walk into, whether it's an old bookstore or an antique store that has a lot of books, they have this scent, this specific scent. And were we in Syracuse with Uncle Phil when we went to that barn?
Do you remember that big barn? Yeah. Oh, that's right.
And that too, I remember walking into this barn,
Berry Hill Bookshop,
full of books. And I bought one, and even the book had the smell too. It was just, yeah, I remember it so well. That's part of, I think some people don't understand collectors. And I think that especially if you're of a certain age where you went to find those books or those artifacts or tchotchkes or whatever it is, that everything comes with a story. And that adds to the love of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, finding things and going, oh, wow. Yeah. Oh, I worked really hard to locate this. And
there's a backstory or a provenance.
Yeah. Yeah.
One is a fancy word.
I love, because you guys always talk about Brimfield.
Yeah.
My parents used to go to this big one in Brimfield, Massachusetts. Yeah.
Brimfield,
Connecticut. And what's the one when it was raining and you guys drove through asking what people had?
Yep.
It was.
Any Disney collectibles?
It was raining so hard. And so you just stayed in the car yelling to people.
Because a lot of people had closed up.
Yeah.
And
it was raining.
No problem about hitting any pedestrians because there are very few people still traipsing around the field.
I'm trying to think, what's the other? We went to that other big one. Was that in New York as well?
No, that was outside of Portland.
Is that what it was? Where it was like it was on the road and everywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
We went to Bouckville.
Yeah, I think that's the one
New
I'm thinking of. I think that's the one I'm thinking of.
That's one that Phil took us to.
It's the one where there were things all along the road. It was another one like an antique fair. So it was all along the road, but then it was also in what I remember. I was young. I remember it looking like an airport hangar or something.
That was the Portland one.
Yeah. Oh God. So many. I'm sure you two have similar. I'm sure you guys have similar where a few people are saying that they went with their parents and looked at different stuff. It's just crazy. It's just crazy the places you go to, the people you find.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I say, then when you look at certain tchotchkes, like eBay is brilliant. eBay is great because it does offer a lot. At the same time, nothing is going to replace the adventure part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
nice for you to be able to find the things you're looking for.
Yes.
Yes. But I think that
But the thrill of the chase.
Yeah.
There's a lot to be said for the thrill of the chase.
Yep. Chicken in the rough.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've told you guys this before when we would get to different places. So I was given jobs. My parents were smart. They were trying to figure out a way to keep me entertained while taking me to all these different antique stores. And what they discovered was that if I had a job, if I was trying to do something, that helped. So my dad would have me look for Chicken in the Rough.
It was a chain.
What else? There was a couple of
Chicken in the Rough. They showed a chicken playing golf.
Yeah.
And that was their logo.
And it was just funny. And so I'd look for Chicken in the Rough. I would look for Disney stuff.
But then you started collecting
Joseph figures. At some point, my mom was smart enough to try to help me find something I would like. And there's these really sweet little porcelain dolls. They're called Joseph. And I started collecting them as a little kid. And I still have probably 30 or 40 of them downstairs, something like that.
So you caught the bug.
Well, it was fun. It was fun to go and look for them and find different ones.
And they were affordable.
And they were affordable. I could find different ones. And it's funny because Mommy on occasion would buy me. She'd find some for me and she'd buy them for me. And I would have to say to her, I don't want them like that. I don't want them bought for me. I like the going and finding them. That's the part to me that's fun. But yeah, I still have them. I love them. And it's just one of those things that's my favorite. They're still around too. You can find them because a lot were made. But yeah, memories. I do see one. Craig keeps asking about some foreign films. I'm going to go back up to his question. 1 second, guys. Here we go. He wants to ask you about some international films you haven't talked about yet. Corsage, EO, Broker, All Quiet on the Western Front, Bardot, No Bears, Close, and Triangle of Sadness. Have you seen Corsage?
No, I haven't seen the majority of these.
Yeah, I know you saw
EO. I saw.
Yep.
Jerzy Skolimowski's EO about the donkey.
Yeah.
It's a very good film.
Yeah.
Very unusual and very good. And I've seen Ruben Östlund's Triangle of Sadness, which I enjoy. His sense of humor is very dry, very dry. But I liked it. I find it didn't have staying power for me. I actually watched it a second time because I found I was forgetting what I enjoyed about it, what the key scenes were. So I had to refresh my memory. Oh, Wings of Desire worth a watch? Yes, very much so.
Is that what was just on? Is that what you? No, what were you watching that you said wasn't very good, but you couldn't leave? They were flying.
Oh,
it was war.
Yeah, not worthy of mention in the same breath as Wings of Desire. You've seen Winter's Desire, right?
Yes. Yeah, I have.
Yeah, I remember that. Anyway, I still feel indebted to TCM every day because when I get up in the morning, I go to my exercise bike to try to stay healthy, get my heart rate up, all that kind of thing. And I put on Turner Classic Movies, and unless they're showing something I hate or that I just saw last week.
I like that. If I hate it or I just watched it.
Yeah. Then I'll watch that while I'm on the bike. I can come in the middle. I can come in toward the end. I don't mind watching their promo stuff in between. Sometimes I get a good short subject. That's a really good morning. And if none of those things are true, we get DirecTV, and I press the channel up button, and I get Fox Movie Channel. And Fox Movie Channel in primetime shows contemporary films, but in the off hours, I'm biking in the off hours.
Yes,
they have oldies and 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. They have a rather small pool of films to choose from. So I don't need to see Michael Rennie in The Lost World again. But that's my final choice is the Stars Encore Westerns channel.
Yeah, he loves Westerns.
I love Westerns.
He loves him some Westerns.
And then I'm happy, and I can stay on the bike a longer time.
Someone's asking how much the light bulb costs for the projector, and I'm looking it up. Well, good to know. There's a number of Kodak pageant projectors on eBay to purchase, and they're all look like under $200, which is really not bad.
No, that's fine. Which means they're getting rid of them.
Yeah, about that. Yeah, about that. Let's see, light bulb.
Projection bulb.
Okay. Well, so there's one that's for $5.90. There's some that are more expensive. Yep.
Yeah.
$40, somewhere in there, $20.
It can be
depends.
Done.
Yeah. It's still there. You can get yourself a replacement light bulb.
Our engineer who does our podcast,
yes,
Aristotle Acevedo,
best name,
got an 8mm, standard 8mm projector.
Yep.
And so I decided to give him some of my, because I'd kept them low these many years.
Yeah. Why not?
Never have occasion to watch them.
Why not? Yep.
So I gave him a bunch of stuff, which he was very happy about.
It's riding the trail with Leonard the Kid. Yeah, but it's it's funny. Again, it's the stuff that we take the greatest pleasure in. I find it's the things that sort of just relax you. So when you put on a Western, you're just sort of happy.
Yes.
It just makes you happy.
Yes.
And that's exactly what you're searching for in those moments, especially if you're exercising and you're trying to get distracted. This is just going to make me smile, and it's fine.
Yeah.
No, it always, I say, I love, my mom is obsessed with all the British, older British shows. She watches them religiously. A few people are mentioning that they put PBS on.
Yeah.
That's what they put on, the same kind of thing. We have that on all the time. Yeah, it's, as I say, it's funny. It's funny what you respond to, but inevitably it's the things that have always made you happy. It's stuff you've always enjoyed. That's what you're going to put on.
The equivalent of what they call comfort food.
Yeah, it is. It is comfort food. I have noticed that TCM has really come down since the original host died. I don't know that it's come down. I think it's just different without Robert. Robert Osborne.
Robert was one of a kind.
Robert Osborne was incredible. And I'll tell you that in person, he was just so graceful and
gracious.
He'd also, this is the other thing, is that he knew a lot of these people personally.
Yeah.
He had worked with them when he was young and he was an actor, but he knew a lot of them.
He cultivated friendships.
Yeah. And a moment I've never forgotten was watching him with RJ.
Yes. Robert
Wagner, watching the two of them together in the green room at TCM Film Fest, and just sort of being in awe because you could tell they had all of these inside jokes.
Mm-hmm.
You could just see that. They'd been friends forever and they had all of these inside jokes and they were looking at each other and laughing. And it's just, there's nothing quite like it. And so I think that when this is what we're all facing. So you guys just watched the other day, we all watched the montage of all the people that we lost in the last year.
Oh yeah.
Which are the most depressing videos ever. And every time, because I always forget a few that have gone, and then I'm reminded, and I'm upset again. There's only so many people left who have experienced certain things firsthand.
Yeah.
There's only so many people left who worked with Hitchcock, who worked with, any of the big names that you can think of.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we felt so lucky getting to know Norman
Lloyd.
Norman Lloyd was so special because he had these stories, and whether it was playing tennis with Charlie Chaplin, which is something he did frequently, or talking about Hitch, how many of those people are around.
Yeah, we've been lucky and blessed.
Very, in both cases. I just think that it's really hard to then have anyone else step in. And with something like TCM, where people don't really want, when I say new, I mean in the sense that people look to TCM as the channel that always comes through for them, in the sense that they want to watch their classic films and they want to enjoy this. And so I think anybody who comes through is going to have a hard time replacing that. And that's why I think they sort of just went the extreme opposite direction, and they said, let's not try to find another Robert Osborne. Let's do something else completely,
Yes.
So that's all I can kind of figure.
Oh, thank you for, I got a nice compliment
on
my appearance on the new Blu-ray of Holiday Inn.
You did a great job on the Holiday Inn 4K Blu-ray. Thank you
very much. Sometimes I do those, in fact, often I appear on those Blu-rays and never hear a word of response, waiting for the splash at the bottom of the well that never comes. But today I got lucky.
Yeah.
Today I got lucky.
Yeah. Ronnie says Alicia Malone is a gem. I'll tell you, Alicia Malone is a real movie buff. She's a real movie buff. She is smart and funny and knows her stuff backwards and forwards.
Yep.
She really cares about this. And when we first met her and started spending time with her, 'cause she's a friend, I immediately knew she was the real thing. I really did. I immediately knew she was the real thing. And I think that it's especially helpful because, sometimes if you're trying to appeal to a younger audience and you're saying, hey, come watch these older movies. It's okay. They're black and white. It's not scary. You can do it. If you have someone like Alicia there, they might be more willing to try it because they go, well, okay. And that's the hope, is that maybe people would be willing to, give it a go if they see someone that they relate to. Who knows?
We're about to post on my website, leonardmaltin.com,
a book roundup.
And there are lots and lots and lots of recently published and newly published film-related books. And I try to cover as many as I can.
Yeah.
And this is one that came out in the fall, but I just got my copy. It's called Duke, the official John Wayne movie book. And it's official because it's
heavy is what it is.
That's right. It's endorsed by and was produced by the John Wayne estate, which donates all the revenue to the John Wayne Cancer Institute. And so that's meaningful. And this one was signed for me by Ethan Wayne, Patrick's son, John Wayne's grandson. And one of the things I want to point out is it's called Duke. It's not called The Duke. And lots of people, and including people who should know better, refer to him as the Duke. No.
He was just Duke.
He was called Duke Wayne. And that was actually first the name of his dog when he was a boy. And Little Duke and Big Duke, that kind of thing. He was Duke Wayne to his friends and comrades. So that's what that's about. Although I see that they trademarked both Duke and the Duke.
Oh, funny.
Cover themselves.
Well, you need to, don't you?
Yeah. Anyway, Anne Margaret did the foreword to this book, which is a very handsomely produced book. I mean, it's not that you're going to learn anything startling or new, but it's a very handsomely produced volume, color and black and white photos and good summaries of the films, every one of the films. And I wrote the afterword.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever done that before.
No.
I've done forwards, but I've never done an afterword.
Jackie says, your father should be a host on TCM, in my opinion. Your father is like Robert Osborne. I agree with you, Jackie. I wholeheartedly agree. He should be on that channel more. I agree. I just want to say a few people are saying they're really worried about what's going to happen to TCM with the whole Warner thing. It is nerve-wracking. No question. It's nerve-wracking.
But I know for a fact that corporate Warner Brothers values TCM.
Yeah. Because they know that it does well.
And that it does many things.
Yeah.
It's a good ambassador for them corporately.
Yeah.
And I don't understand. I don't know how the finances work, but I think it is profitable. But it's not something they take for granted.
No.
That much I know.
No.
Now, something just happened that turned out to be a good turn for me. TCM and Fathom Events, those are the folks who put on the monthly theatrical showings of vintage films, have parted company. And you may be surprised because TCM promotes them so heavily. But every month they show a classic or a modern day classic, let's call them. Well, starting in March, I'm going to be introducing those.
He's going to host it.
So if you go to see one of those films from at a local theater via Fathom Events, you'll see me.
You'll see this guy.
And that's a nice freelance job that just came my way.
Yep.
And
we'll be filming all of it this week.
Yep.
Which is very exciting. And
10 months worth.
In
1 day.
10 months, 1 day. We'll see what happens. I'm going with him. So my mom has Daisy for a day. So we'll see who is alive, if any. Oh, Logan. Oh, go get that squirrel. You go get that squirrel, Logan. You tell him. Fingers crossed, with TCM, it's going to be okay. But I understand completely how you feel. And yes, I know you're talking about that woman who hosted the Underground and she was fired. It's a rough time for everybody.
Yeah. That axe has fallen heavily at Warner Brothers.
Yeah. It's
every division.
Been rough for a lot of people we know. Our friend Ryan is asking, do you have over 1,000 books in your collection? I would think so.
I would think so. But I can't find them all.
No, there's a lot of books.
Here's another new one. This is actually brand new. It's called Movie Dad: Finding Myself and My Family on Screen and Off. And it's written by Paul Dooley.
Our pal, Paul Dooley.
And 95-year-old Paul Dooley, who is still working.
Yep.
Still going strong, and is a wonderful actor and a creative guy who writes comedy. He and his wife Winnie have written and performed plays together.
Yep, we had them on our show together.
You can
listen to our episode.
Find that episode of our podcast with them. But this is it's not only a charming book and a lovely memory, but it's unexpectedly dramatic, and I don't want to give very much away. Yes, he did work with John Hughes. He's Molly Ringwald's father in Pretty in Pink. He worked quite a bit with Robert Altman, played Wimpy in the Popeye movie. And
he voices Sarge in the Cars universe.
That's true.
There you go.
That's true. Well, he's been working for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And as I say, is still available. Just call.
Since Lisa Rinna has been fired, does this mean Jesse will now be coming on to the Beverly Hills Housewives? Man, I wish. I think that there's about a million reasons why I wouldn't, namely in that I am not famous and I am not wealthy. But maybe one day, if I dream big enough, I can be on that show. Oh, man. You remember so many kids that I went to school with, their parents are on that show. And it is really, really weird to see the kids that you knew when you were growing up all of a sudden on that. It's a trip. It's definitely a trip. Oh, that's very nice. Someone's saying that we should host, you and I should do the Fathom event intro things together. I think that it's fair to say my dad's pretty good at this without me. But I enjoy doing stuff with him, which is cool because we have got some stuff coming up that we're doing together. I hope we can tell you more about it soon when it actually exists. I just don't trust anything until it exists.
True. Good policy.
Yes. But when it exists, I will tell you.
Yes. I don't have any superstitions that I'm aware of.
No, not superstitious.
Except one.
Yeah.
I don't talk about something until it's a done deal.
Yeah. Until it exists.
Yeah. Because I got burned very, very young when I was like 12.
Yeah.
I was bragging to my friends I was going to be in this magazine. And then the magazine editor changed his mind and didn't use my piece. And I was just mortified.
Yeah. It's no fun.
So that's become a lifelong habit.
Yeah. I know you guys are all talking about, I'm reading, you guys are all talking about all the TCM cuts and stuff like that. Everything about it was rough, but I'll tell you that it's been so scary for folks at Warner Brothers in general. A lot of our friends have been at risk. A lot of our TCM friends who we check in with all the time, it's nice to know that they still have jobs. Some of them don't anymore. It's all really tricky. And this is the thing, is that we collectively, we work in, oh yeah, I was going to correct you and I didn't. He's not Pretty in Pink. It's 16 Candles.
16 Candles.
Yeah, I was going to,
sorry about that.
Yeah.
Mea culpa, which is Latin for my bad.
Yeah. My bad. When you work in any studio, and why is there so much trouble at Warner Brothers? Well, the short answer is that there's a new boss. They want to make money because Warner Brothers is in debt significantly.
And he's been tasked with cutting
how many billions?
$33 billion from their budget.
Something like $30 billion from their budget because I forget what's do you remember what the number is?
Who couldn't relate to that?
Yeah, it's insane. And so the thing is, as often happens when a new boss comes in, they just go like this. And
they tell every department head,
you have to cut as many as you can cut. They say it's not the kind of thing that feels good or makes anyone happy, but it's also just kind of is what it is. Yeah, another studio in debt. Yeah, they're all in. This is the thing. I mean, this is what's insane. The idea that when you hear that a movie costs $300 million, what even does that mean? Can anyone physically hold a $30 million, $300 million? Like, do we know what that looks like? It's not real. It becomes funny money. And so how do you, like, cutting $30 billion from a budget? What? Like, what? How? It's just insane. So what they've done is they've just cut as much as they could. It's just nuts.
I wouldn't want to have to make those decisions.
Oh God, no. Thank God we don't.
Yeah.
Yes. Stephen says, I understand since I had to cut a couple billion from my budget. Us too, Stephen. Look, I put my foot down. I said, Daisy, you're only getting 1 billion this year. And you know what? She was difficult, but I had to just say it and get over it. Let me go over here and look through some more of your questions.
Okay, and then I have some show and tell.
Yes, you do. My, oh my. Now, one of the things that I asked you guys today is what's your favorite movie from 2022? Now, do you have an answer at this point for yourself?
I think it's The Fabelmans.
You think Fabelmans is your favorite?
The Fabelmans, yeah.
Sure.
Followed closely by Top Gun Maverick, a film that scores on any measurement. It delivers. It makes a promise to you. You're going to have fun. Tom Cruise is going to be heroic. You're going to have echoes of the earlier movie, and you're going to have new cast members, and there's going to be some exciting aerial sequence. It delivers the goods, and in a very slick and entertaining and not unintelligent package. So I really like that, and I'm very sorry. More people aren't joining me in praising James Gray's Armageddon Time.
Yep.
That's another favorite.
Yep.
If you haven't seen it, you have a chance. Do see it.
So Doug's saying he thinks that my rash looks like Popeye. I could maybe like if that's his arm and he's holding spinach. Is that what you're seeing? I'm wondering. but I can get behind it. I know, yeah, a lot of people are saying Everything Everywhere All at Once was a big one for them. I just didn't see enough to have a favorite because I just don't get to watch that many movies at this point. 1 second. Let's see. I'm looking. A lot of people are saying the same thing, which is they just felt like this year's movies were slim pickings.
Well, I couldn't fill a 10 best list.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. I got to about 7.
Yeah.
And gave up.
One person saying Crimes of the Future.
I didn't get to see that. That's the Cronenberg movie.
Yep. Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. My boy Nicolas Cage. I will love him until I die. Women Talking. Yes.
Women Talking is on my list.
Definitely, a lot of people feel that way. Yeah, it's interesting because a lot of people just felt like there wasn't something that they could fall in love with.
Pandemic is I agree with you on Woman King.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put the Batman on top of my list. I enjoyed it.
Scott liked, my husband really liked it though. My husband was one of the many people saying that he didn't understand why Robert Pattinson was Batman, and then when he saw it, he thought he was fantastic. You like the new Puss in Boots and White Noise. You liked but did not love White Noise. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see RRR? I have. It's too long with debate. The only time I get to watch movies is when my daughter takes a nap. And usually her naps last for about 2 hours, give or take, if I'm lucky. So the only time I get to watch is right then. And so if it's longer than that, I will never get through it. You guys haven't had a chance to watch RRR yet, but you are intrigued by it. I know that. Yeah, that's on a separate note. Chris is saying it's Female Detective Month on TCM. Do you have a favorite female detective? Do you have favorite female detective movies you'd recommend?
Oh, well, the Nancy Drew movies are kind of disappointing. The ones that Benita Granville made in the late 30s. I'm glad they made them, but and the Torchy Blaine movies, also from Warner Brothers, with Glenda Farrell and Barton McLean, they're okay. They're just okay.
Yeah.
The Hildegard Withers movies from RKO, starring Edna Mae Oliver and James Gleason. The Penguin Pool Murder. There's one for you.
I came up with Murder. One. Have you watched any Rankin Bass specials?
I never got into Rankin Bass. They came along with the Frosty and Rudolph and all the other holiday specials they did. As I was leaving that demographic, I was growing up, and so I was not their target audience anymore, and I never caught up with them. And those are the kind of things that if you don't first see as a child, it's very difficult to approach them as an adult and really appreciate them fully. I have friends who are just mad for those shows.
Steven's saying, I guess watching Abel Gance's Napoleon is out while your daughter is napping. Yeah, I have a feeling it also might just be a bit too loud. I don't know that she'd sleep through that one. Yeah, that's, again, it's just one of those things. It's the way it is right now. It's hardly going to be forever, but for the moment, I just can't really watch that many movies.
Return of Sophie Lang. It's okay.
Yeah. Someone here is saying that their favorite documentary from the previous year was The Automat, which you and Molly loved.
I loved Lisa Hurwitz's film, The Automat.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Robert is saying, I'm curious to know why you didn't care for the menu. He didn't just not care for it. My favorite, my dad posted a piece where he sort of did some short reviews about movies that he hadn't had time to fully write up yet. And I saved the last line because it's my favorite thing. The Menu is a stupid film.
Just an opinion. Just an opinion.
It just makes, I would say I love Angry Leonard. Angry Leonard's my favorite Leonard. Hey, from St. Lou, my favorite 2022 film was She Said. So do you think one of the big reasons for too many films over 2 hours is that the longer length makes them more appealing to streaming services and the demands of theater owners for quicker turnover? More showings in a day don't matter as much to them. I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think that it's just sort of, I think more than anything, it's that they can. It's that if everyone else is doing it, then they can.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem with that is that then people are not editing to the degree they should be. And
years ago, I had a casual conversation with the late director, Sidney Pollack, who had just made the remake of Sabrina with Harrison Ford and that woman who was in the remake of Sabrina. I said to him, "Do you think movies are too long?" He said, "I know mine are." And he elaborated by saying that he turned in a cut, his director's cut of Sabrina to Paramount at, I forget what length it was, over 2 hours, expecting the studio to say, "Well, it's pretty good, Sidney, but why don't you take out about 15 minutes?" And they didn't. They didn't say that. And they should have. Look, Glass Onion is fun.
It's fun.
But there's no need for it to be 2 hours and 15 minutes or whatever it is.
No.
Now obviously Damien Chazelle went into Babylon intending to make a long movie.
Yeah.
That doesn't justify if you think it was good or bad, but it was part of the game plan.
Yeah.
A big, spectacular, thing. But other movies that don't justify that extreme length do it anyway.
No. But that's it, because everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
And that's really, to me, what it comes
down to. And audiences aren't rebelling.
No, they're not. John is asking what you thought of Power of the Dog last year.
Did not like it.
Mm-mm. None of you did. That's my mom, my dad, and my husband saw that one together, and they just did not care for it. I love movies that are unashamed to be 90 to 100 minutes.
Yes.
Well, this is the thing.
Whatever happened to them?
Like, I would say that in general, we in general are more forgiving. And it's not we as in us, but as like the royal we as an audience are more forgiving when a film has certain flaws, but it's shorter. Because I think the feeling is, all right, well, you tried. But when you make a 3-hour long movie and you have issues, it's like, well, what's your excuse? You didn't have enough time? You couldn't figure that out.
Yeah.
I find myself sometimes getting lost in movie land. What's your secret to finding a good movies/work and life balance?
Well, I'm in a situation that's not unique, but unusual, in that I make my living watching movies. So, and I married a woman who loves watching movies too. So that's part of the balance.
Mm-hmm.
Is that I can do this with my wife, so it becomes social as well as business.
Mm-hmm.
And same with you.
Mm-hmm.
And when you were little and we would go to those Saturday morning screenings together, that was work for me and fun for her.
Yep.
So
it was time together.
Yeah, and time together.
It was time together.
Experiencing something together.
So
I don't have a formula.
Yeah.
For that.
I know what your formula is, and I'll be honest, it is the family, and it's that so I grew up with a lot of kids whose parents worked in the film industry, obviously, and they didn't get to see their parents very much. And they had these really, really incredible mansions that they lived in, and they never saw their parents.
I managed to be home for dinner.
Yeah.
Almost every night. Even if I had to go right back out to a screening afterwards, or even if Alice and I both had to go to a screening afterwards, but we had family dinner.
We pretty much every evening of my life, we had dinner together.
Yeah.
And my mom was really big on that as well with my dad, that you came to everything. So you weren't at every basketball game, you weren't at all that sort of stuff, but you were at every performance. When I'm a theater kid, whenever I did a show, or whether it was choir, anything like that, you came to everything. And I think that this is where family does have an impact on that specifically, in that some of my dad's friends who don't have kids, I think especially, kids force you to stop doing things.
Yes.
You and your partner could choose to watch nothing but movies all day. When you have a kid, they're going to take your time. And now you have me and also Daisy. And so even when my dad's downstairs trying to work on his films, he's got Daisy climbing up and wanting to look at everything. So I think that the balance comes from sort of saying, okay, I want both of these, but I have to figure out a way to make sure that it still feels fun, and make sure that I'm getting to do both. So yeah.
Last week I showed you some radio collectibles. So I'm going to continue on that note. And of course, there's a tremendous crossover between Hollywood movie making and Hollywood radio broadcasting. It's the reason that broadcasting moved to Los Angeles, to have access to the stars. Lux Radio Theater started out in New York. And then after a year or so, they said, we're missing the boat. We're going to Hollywood. Or as Mr. DeMille said at the end of every episode, Hollywood. Anyway, so this is not a movie magazine. It's Radio Stars magazine, but it boasts a beautiful portrait of Fred Astaire by Earl Christie, a very talented commercial artist who did other covers.
A Tribute to Football by Grantland Rice. Blocking backs and interference, 50,000 wild adherents, tackle thrusts and headlong clashes, 2-yard bucks and dizzy dashes, head and shoulder, heart and soul till you fall across the goal. And another all-star 11, they satisfy, Chesterfield cigarettes.
Grantland Rice was the most famous sports writer of his day. And his daughter, Florence Rice, was an ingenue at MGM.
There you go.
All right. So here's another radio magazine. This is just called Radio Life. Only cost a nickel. And it's that Ed Gardner, creator of and star of Duffy's Tavern.
Duffy's Tavern, where the elite meet to eat.
And with him is that week's guest star, Cary Grant, bona fide movie star. And just as in movie world, there are all sorts of things you can collect. This is a cylindrical tin of Tums, as you can plainly see. But when you turn it over a little bit, turn it around.
So it says Tums for acid indigestion, pot o' gold with Horace Heidt. Is that who you say it? On your radio Thursday night. Horace Heidt on your radio Thursday night.
Horace Heidt, who built Horace Heidt Estates right near us in Sherman Oaks.
Oh, very funny. Tums for the tummy in hyperacidity. I know it's hard to see because it's reflective.
And there's even a 1941 movie based on his radio show, which was called Pot of Gold. Jimmy Stewart is in it, and it's maybe the worst movie ever made.
Where does this live? I've never seen it, so I'm asking. Okay.
You just haven't noticed.
Well.
And this is one of my very favorite collectibles, because who saves old containers that floor wax comes in? Well, you do if it has Fib, McGee, and Molly on it. Johnson's Glow Coat.
There you go.
Fib, McGee, and Molly were sponsored for many years by Johnson's Wax. And their announcer, Harlow Wilcox, would sing its praises.
Fibber McGee and Molly say, for brightest shine, use Glow Coat, made by the makers of Johnson's Wax. Glow Coat, a self-polishing wax for floors. It's too funny.
And Fibber McGee and Molly also made movies. So there's a movie connection there. No, not as strong, but it's there. So I'll move back to pure film next week.
And Trevor's asking any Dragnet / Jack Webb radio stuff in the collection. Do you have any Dragnet stuff?
Look up there.
Oh, duh. Yeah. There's a. Hang on.
Oh, this takes a little doing.
Hang on. Give me 1 second. Okay. Up. Instagram can already see it. Hang on, Twitter. All right, there you go. Next to the Milk of Magnesia, Jimmy Durante, is the Jack Webb up there.
For Fatima cigarettes.
Hang on. Trying to point at it. There we go. It's there. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'm trying my best. But yeah, he's up there.
And I have a Dragnet police whistle.
Guys, he has a Dragnet police whistle. Duh. Yes, you have a Dragnet police whistle.
And I think I have a plastic gun, a toy gun.
Sure.
Service revolver, I think.
That's not the one that we got in Arizona.
No, that was a Hopalong Cassidy toy gun.
No, that was a Hopalong Cassidy toy gun. If you want to have fun in an airport, let me tell you.
This was a long time
Take ago. A wreath with a gun on it. Which one of you thought that was going to end well? Just out of curiosity.
Well, obviously we weren't thinking.
No. Tell them what happened. Tell the nice people what happened.
We were visiting Phoenix, was it, or Tucson?
I don't remember.
And in an antique mall, we found this very, very lovingly made Christmas wreath.
Where is it? Do we have it still?
No. Which had the different trinkets on it. And one of those trinkets being a child's pop gun with Hopalong Cassidy's insignia on it.
How could that go wrong in an airport?
Yeah.
I remember you had it in a box. You had it as your carry-on, and I remember it went through, and then all of a sudden it did not go through. And I think they let you ship it. Is that what happened? I was so young.
It's so long ago. I really don't remember.
The conversation of "there's a gun on this thing" was like, "I'm sorry, what?" Only you. No, it's Hopalong. It's fine. It's Hopalong Cassidy. What could they do? It is funny.
We didn't think it through. You're thinking it through in a logical fashion.
Yes, you were. Yes, I understand.
We were not using.
I get that.
Good sense or good logic.
I get both of those things.
Yeah.
God, that was funny. Funny now.
Yeah.
Less back. Funny in an airport. Funny now.
Looking back.
Oh God. No. Oh, some of the things that we've schlepped home. I do think about. You know what I often think about in terms of schlepping things home was we got to interview Werner Herzog in his home, and he had this giant spear. And all I could think about, because this is how my brain works, is how the hell did you get that home? And I did ask his wife, and I think she said he got it took it home on the airplane, which, again, I would have paid to watch. Can you imagine? I would have paid to watch that happen because it sounds.
Werner is a determined man.
He is definitely that. Yeah, I can't quite imagine. No, this is. I got these from, I can't do the accent. I got this from the tribe and such. You can't take it away from me. Lord. Or is that all your collectibles today?
Yes, that's it for today.
Is that all you have to share?
That's it for today.
I didn't bring down the I got a Hanukkah Curious George book from my daughter. Because when you think Curious George, you think Hanukkah. Or at least maybe she will now.
Mm-hmm.
Or something of that sort. My goodness. Friends, as always, thank you so much for joining us. We're so happy to be here with you. I think that the reason I was asking about Critics' Choice is that do we have to be there early or are we?
I don't think there's a reason to be there early except to schmooze, and we'll get there early enough for that.
Sure. Next Sunday is the Critics' Choice Awards, and we are going to that, but we should be fine time-wise to see you first. And maybe we'll even look spiffy. Who knows?
It's a big weekend next Friday is the AFI luncheon, and being on the AFI jury, I get to attend that, which is always very cool.
Mm-hmm. That's a blast.
I help vote on the 10 outstanding films of the year, and don't always agree with what the jury decides, but that's the breaks of the game. Saturday night is the LA Film Critics Association Awards dinner. We're ditto.
Same thing.
And I get to present an award.
Yep.
And on Sunday, it's
Critics'
the
Choice
Award. The new kids, relatively new kids on the block.
Yeah.
They've been around for a while.
Comparatively speaking. So yeah, that's what we'll be doing. But we'll see you next Sunday. Same batch time, same batch channel. We'll talk to you then.
Happy New Year and be kind.
Bye, guys.